Physics Class 11 Chapter 6 Work, Energy and Power. Collisions. Collisions are defined as interaction between two particles in which a very large force acts for a very short interval of time. So collision is defined as the intersection between two particles in which very large force is acting for a short interval of time. For example, there are several games such as billiards, marbles, caroms. And in these games, we can see that there is a collision between the two particles for a short time, and there is a large force acting between the particles. In all collisions, total momentum is conserved. Now, when there is a collision, the total momentum is conserved. That means the initial momentum will be equal to the final momentum. Okay, the momentum remains same, or the momentum is conserved. When two objects collide, the mutual impulsive forces acting over the collision time delta t causes a change in the respective momentum. Now, when two objects are colliding, then there is a mutual impulsive force acting over the collision time delta t. So, mutual impulsive force means if there are two particles, particle 1 and 2, then particle 1 will have some force on particle 2, and similarly the particle 2 also will impose some force on particle 1. So there is a mutual impulsive force. Okay, and because of these there will be change in the momentum. Okay, change in the momentum. So suppose for particle 1 we can say change in momentum delta p1 equal to f12 delta t, and change in momentum of particle 2 delta p2 equal to f21 into delta t, where F12, this one, is the force exerted on first particle by the second particle, and F21 is the force exerted on second particle by the first particle. Now by Newton's third law, F12 is equal to minus of F21. Okay, we know that the Newton's third law says that the force will be acting opposite and in equal amount. Okay, so the force will be the force acting on force on 1 exerted on 1 by 2 will be equal to force exerted on 2 by 1, but it will be in the opposite direction, so it will be minus. Okay, equal and opposite. So F12 equal to minus of F21, right? So now if I take the sum of these two, delta P1 plus delta P2 equal to this one F12 delta T plus this one F21 delta T, right? Now we know that by Newton's third law, F12 equal to minus of F21. So I'll put here F12 equal to minus of F21, right? So I'm just placing the value of this into delta T plus F21 delta T, and this one is negative, one is positive, so answer is 0, right? So we can say the total momentum is conserved. So that is common for all the collisions, that the total momentum is always conserved in the collisions. The total kinetic energy of the system is not necessarily conserved, but for the kinetic energy it is not necessarily conserved. It may be conserved, it may be not conserved, it may be can convert into other form, okay, like heat energy or sound energy, but it will be not conserved. Okay, not necessarily conserved, but momentum, linear momentum, is always conserved in the collision. The impact and deformation during collision may generate heat and sound. So why it happens, why the kinetic energy is not conserved all the time? Because when there is impact, there is a deformation during the collision, and therefore there will be heat and sound generated. So part of the initial kinetic energy is transformed into other form of energy, and because of this the part of the kinetic energy, initial kinetic energy, will be transformed into other form or form of energy, that is like heat, sound, okay, etc. And deformation, you can take the example of a spring. If you are giving the spring pulling giving lot of force and pulling, then you know it will get deformation, it will not be coming to its own position. Okay, so that is a deformation. Next we have got types of collisions. The first one is elastic collisions. The collision during which linear momentum and kinetic energy are conserved, such collisions are called elastic collisions. Now we already saw that in all the collision linear momentum is conserved, but with the linear momentum kinetic energy also is conserved, and such collision we call it as a elastic collision. Kinetic energy may change, may not change. Okay, it is conserved, may not be conserved. But if it is conserved, then such kind of collision you call it as a elastic collision. So that is the definition for elastic collision. Number 2, complete inelastic collisions. In the collision, if the deformation may not be relieved and the two bodies could move together after the collision, a collision in which the two particles move together after the collision is called a completely inelastic collision. So in completely inelastic collision, see, there will be deformation. Okay, may not be relieved, may not be again come back to its position. Plus the two bodies will move together after the collision. Then that kind of collision we call it as a complete inelastic collision. Okay, that means a collision in which the two particles move together after the collision is called a complete inelastic collision. Okay, see here I can see this is particle with mass m1, this is particle with mass m2. Suppose v1 is the speed of particle particle 1 and v2 is the velocity of particle 2. Okay, now this velocity should be less, then only this will come and collide with this. So suppose they are coming together, colliding, then there will be, the momentum will be conserved, but there will be change in the kinetic energy, and after collision these two particles m1 and m2 will move together. Then you call it as a complete inelastic collision. Next, third one is inelastic collision. This was complete inelastic, now this is inelastic collision. The intermediate case where the deformation is partly relieved and some of the initial kinetic energy is lost is called an inelastic collision. So this is the intermediate case means in between case where the deformation is partly relieved, means the deformation is partly gained and some of the initial kinetic energy is lost is called an inelastic collision. So in this, the sum of the initial kinetic energy is lost. Okay, so there is a change in the kinetic energy, and that you call it as a inelastic collision. So these are the three types. One is elastic collision, second is complete inelastic collision, and third one is inelastic collision. Collisions in one dimension. Consider two masses m1 and m2. The particle m1 is moving with speed v1I and m2 is at rest. The mass m1 collides with m2 and they fly off in different direction. Okay, this figure I have drawn here, actually the figure I have drawn, I have taken x and y, so it is 2 dimension. Okay, but the figure which I showed you here, this is the figure where it is in 1 dimension. Okay, when it is in 1 dimension, in the first case I have taken this value as velocity is 0, so this is at rest. Okay, and the velocity of the first particle m1 is v1I, the initial velocity. Okay, so this is in 1 dimension. The figure I have drawn here is for the 2 dimension. Okay, because I have taken here x-axis and y-axis, right? So now I consider two particles m1 and m2. Okay, this is a mass m1 and m2. I take the velocity of m1 as v1I. Okay, it is moving in this direction, and m2 I consider at rest. That means the initial velocity of m2 is 0. Okay, now they are colliding each other and then they will fly off in different direction. Okay, so this is the scenario. You can say this is m1 coming, colliding with this, and they are separated in different directions. Consider first a complete inelastic collision in 1 dimension. Now as I said, this I have taken in the 2 dimension, right? So here I want to take in 1 dimension. Suppose they are colliding and moving together, right? So if they are colliding here, that time if it is in 1 dimension, let us consider that theta 1 and theta 2 is 0. Okay, so same figure you can draw. You can say theta 1 theta 2 is equal to 0. That means I am taking in 1 dimension. Okay, momentum is conserved. We know that already, we have mentioned earlier that in all collisions total linear momentum is conserved. So momentum is conserved. That means initial momentum equal to final momentum. Momentum is given as P equal to m into v. Okay, so initial momentum will be m1 v1I. The mass, first particle mass is m1 and the velocity is v1I, plus mass is m2 and this is at rest, right? So it will be m2 into 0, so it will be 0. Okay, so plus 0 is equal to final momentum. So in final momentum we consider that the particle m1 is moving with velocity vf, final velocity, and particle 2 is also moving with the velocity vf. Why? because particle move together. Okay, in one dimension, you can just remember this figure. It is moving together. Okay, it's moved together, so velocity will be same. So I am taking the final velocity Vf equal to V2f, V1f equal to V2f equal to Vf. Okay, the final velocity. So I have written m1 Vf plus m2 Vf. So after the collision, the momentum is for the first particle mass into velocity, that is m1 Vf plus m2 Vf. Okay, for the second particle, right? Why we have taken f2 Vf same? Because it is in one dimension and we consider that they are in final energy, final velocity will be same. Okay, they are moving together. Okay, they are moving together because theta1 theta2 is 0 in one dimension we have taken, right? Now here let us find the value of the final velocity, that is Vf. So I take from these two Vf common. Okay, so I get here m1 plus m2, here m1 v1i as it is. Now Vf equal to this, if you transfer over here, it will go in the denominator, equal to Vf equal to here m1 v1i divided by m1 plus m2. Call this equation 1. Okay, so this is the final velocity at which the particles are moving. Okay, so that is the final velocity. Here v1i is the initial velocity, Vf is the final velocity, and Vf is the final velocity after the collision. Okay, and this for the first particle, if you are taking, you can say v1f, and for the second particle v2f. Now next is the loss in kinetic energy on collision is. Now we know kinetic energy is given as half mv square. Okay, so we have to take for particle 1 and 2. So change in the kinetic energy delta k equal to 1 by 2 m1 v1i square minus 1 by 2. After the collision, the particles are together. Okay, you can consider this. So you can say it will be, the total mass will be m1 plus m2 and final velocity is vf square, right? So that is what I have written, vf square here together because velocity is same. This keep as it is, minus 1 by 2 as it is, m1 plus m2 as it is, vf square, what we have found from equation 1. Okay, put this value, m1 v1i divided by m1 plus m2, but it is a square. Okay, from 1 value of vf. So I have to square it. So m1 square v1i square divided by m1 plus m2 whole square. 1 m1 plus m2 you can cut. Okay, this cancel and here remains 1. This just bring as it is, minus here remains m1 square v1i square divided by this 2 and 1 I have cut, so remains m1 plus m2. This is, now see here m1 v1i square, m1 v1i square, both have got denominator 2. So take the common, 1 by 2 m1 v1i square. So when you take, here remains 1 minus here remains, here m1 remains m1 plus m2. Okay, now take LCM here. So equal to 1 by 2 m1 v1i square, this term as it is. Take LCM, so 1 into this one, so here you get m1 plus m2 minus m1 divided by the denominator m1 plus m2. m1 minus m1 plus m1 minus m1 cancel, right? So here you get m2 alone and here is m1, right? So what you get here is 1 by 2 m1 v1i square, here m2 and this denominator m1 plus m2. This I am just rewriting it as m1 m2 divided by m1 plus m2 into v1i square, and this 1 by 2 as it is, right? So this is, we have considered the complete inelastic collision in one dimension. Okay, so this is the velocity, change in the kinetic energy or the loss in the kinetic energy on the collision. Consider next an inelastic collision. So first was we have considered the complete inelastic collision. Okay, so in that case we found the final velocity Vf and the change in the kinetic energy, or you can say loss in kinetic energy. Now next we consider inelastic collision. So momentum is conserved, same like the previous case, that in all the collision momentum is conserved. So momentum is conserved means the initial momentum equal to final momentum. Okay, so initial momentum, suppose it is m1 v1i. Why? Because I am taking m2 as rest. If m2 is at rest, that means the momentum of this will be 0. Okay, so I have not written directly, I am writing m1 v1i equal to the final will be m1 v1f plus m2 v2f, where m1 is the mass of particle 1, m2 mass of particle 2, v1i the final velocity of particle 1, and v2f is the final velocity of particle 2 after the collision. m1 v1i, I am transferring this m1 term over here, so minus m1 v1i equal to here m2 v2f. Okay, from here m1 take common, you get here v1i minus v1f equal to this side you get m2 v2f, call it number 2. Okay, now kinetic energy also is conserved. Why? Because it is inelastic collision. Okay, in inelastic collision the kinetic energy is conserved. Okay, so we can take it as kinetic energy is conserved. I think here mistake is there. In inelastic collision, kinetic energy is not conserved. Okay, we have seen the definition that in inelastic collision, the intermediate case where the deformation is partly relieved and some of the initial kinetic energy is lost is called an inelastic collision. So here this is not inelastic. Okay, we have to take it as elastic collision, because in elastic collision the kinetic energy also is conserved. Okay, so here please make a change. It should be elastic collision, not inelastic. Okay, so this you can make change, it will be elastic. So you take here next case is elastic collision. In elastic collision momentum also is conserved and kinetic energy also is conserved. Okay, if it is inelastic, kinetic energy is not conserved, there is a loss in kinetic energy, right? But in elastic collision kinetic energy also is conserved, momentum is conserved in all the collisions. So make the change. So this we are considering the case of elastic collision. Okay, now kinetic energy is conserved, that means you know kinetic energy is half mv square. Okay, so initial kinetic energy will be 1 by 2 m1 v1 I square equal to the final kinetic energy will be 1 by 2 m1 v1 f square plus 1 by 2 m2 v2 f square. Here see all have got 2, 2, 2, right? So I can divide each term by multiply each term by 2. So when you multiply each term by 2, so you get here m1 v1 I square, and this m1 term transfer over here, so minus m1 v1 f square equal to here m2 v2 f square. So I have transferred this term m1 term over here, plus I have multiplied each term by 2. Now from these two you take m1 common, here v1 I square minus v1 f square equal to m2 v2 f square. Now this is a square minus b square, right? So you can use the identity and write this as m1 into v1i minus v1f into v1i plus v1f. This one is m2 v2 f square. Now from equation 2 we can put the value of this one m1 v1i minus v1f. Okay, this one m1 v1i minus v1f, and this value and these are same, and that value is m2 v2f. So this value equal to, I am putting m2 v2f. Okay, this value here I am replacing here v1i plus v1f as it is equal to m2 v2f square. Now we can write this as, see, if you are taking this transferring this m2 here, it will cut here, right? If you transfer v2f, 1 v2f will cancel. So what here remains is v1i plus v1f equal to, here remains v2f. 1 v2f will cancel out. Call this equation number 3. Putting this value in equation 2. Okay, so let us put this value of v2f in equation 2. Okay, so let us place in here the value of v2f. So first I am writing the equation m1 v1i minus v1f equal to m2 v2f. m2 as it is and v2f, this value I am putting v1i plus v1f. Multiply inside, so here m2 v1i plus m2 v1f. This also multiply inside, so m1 v1i minus m1 v1f. Okay, so this you multiply. Now we shall rearrange here. Take all this initial velocity, right, of the particle 1 together and the final velocity of particle 1 together. Okay, so this v1f term transfer over here and this v1i term transfer over here. Okay, so here m1 v1i as it is, this you transfer minus m2 v1i equal to, here when you are transferring this it is negative, when you transfer it becomes positive, m1 v1f plus m2 v1f. From here take v1i common, you get here m1 minus m2 equal to, from here v1f common, m1 plus m2. Now I want to find the value of the final velocity of particle 1, then transfer over this side, so it will go in the denominator. So we get here m1 minus m2 divided by m1 plus m2 into v1i equal to, here remains v1f, call it equation A. So we have found the final velocity of particle 1 after the collision. From equation 3, okay, this equation v1i plus v1f equal to v2f. Okay, so start with that. We take the equation v2f is equal to v1i plus v1f. Okay, writing from this side. Now V1 equal to V1F, V1I as it is, plus V1F value we found from here, put this value. So plus M1 minus M2 divided by M1 plus M2 V1I. Now you see here we have got V1I and V1I. So I can take common. So I am taking common. Okay, V1I. So here I get 1 plus this value as it is, M1 minus M2 divided by M1 plus M2. Take LCM. So 1 into this. So here you get M1 plus M2 plus this one, M1 minus M2 divided by M1 plus M2 into this V1I as it is. See here M2 is positive, M2 is negative, so you can cut, and here M1 plus M1 which will give 2 times M1, and here V1I as it is, and denominator M1 plus M2. So this is the final velocity of particle 2 after the collision, that is V2F equal to 2M1 V1I divided by M1 plus M2. Call it equation B. So in equation A we have found the final velocity of particle 1 after the collision, and in equation B this value is the final velocity of particle 2 after the collision. Let us take special cases. So if suppose the two masses are equal, that is M1 equal to M2. Okay, so what will be the final velocity of the particle 1? So here in this equation A, V1F, if I put M1 equal to M2, so let us put here M1, here M1, right? So M1 minus here M1, right? Instead of M2 put M1. So M1 minus M1 gives you 0, so V1F will be 0, right? And what will be the second velocity of second particle? V2F equal to here M1, here also put M1, so 2M1 V1I divided by M1 plus M1, so it will give you 2M1, so 2M1 will cut, so you get V2F is equal to V1I. Okay, so you have written over here V2F is equal to 2M1 V1I divided by M1 plus M1, this is 2 times M1, numerator is 2M1 into V1I, this you can cut, so you get here V1I. That means the final velocity of the second particle will be same like the first particle, initial velocity of the first particle, right? So V2F equal to V1F, V1I, it will be V1I, not V1F, it will be V1I. Let's correct it. Okay, it is here V1I, so put here V1I. So the initial velocity of the first object will be transferred to the final velocity of the second object after the collision, and the first object will be at rest. Okay, so we can say from these two comparison we can say that this means first mass comes to rest because V1F is equal to 0 and pushes off the second mass with its initial speed on collision. Okay, so after collision the velocity of the first particle will be transferred to second particle, and the first particle will be at rest. When it happens? When both the mass are same, both the particles have got the same mass. Case 2 is if one mass dominates the other. Let us take for example M2 is very large than M1, right? So in this, suppose you take M2 is very greater than M1, then you can say that V1F, the final velocity of the first particle, will be approximately equal to minus of V1I. That means it will turn over opposite. You can just think of a ball, right? If you have a ball and if you are striking it on a wall, you know wall is very heavy mass and it is stationary, right? And it is fixed. So if you are hitting a ball, it will turn back with the same velocity. Okay, it will turn back with the same velocity. So that is V1F is approximately equal to minus of V1I. Minus why? Because opposite direction. And the second particle will be at rest, or V2F is approximately equal to 0. Just think of the wall, right? Wall will not be moving. The wall will remain stationary, but your ball will turn back. That means the heavier mass is undisturbed while the lighter mass reverses its velocity. Okay, so that is the two cases when one mass dominates the other and when both the masses are equal. Example 6.12. Slowing down of neutrons. In a nuclear reactor, a neutron of high speed, typically 10 power 7 meter per second, must be slowed to 10 power 3 meter per second so that it can have a high probability of interacting with isotope 235-92 uranium and causing it to fission. Show that a neutron can lose most of its kinetic energy in an elastic collision with a light nuclei like deuterium or carbon, which has a mass of only a few times the neutron mass. The material making up The light nuclei, usually heavy water D2O or graphite, is called a moderator. Initial kinetic energy of neutron K1I equal to 1 by 2 m1 v1I square. Now final kinetic energy will be K1F is equal to 1 by 2 m1 v1F square equal to 1 by 2 m1, and v1F I am placing the value from equation number A. Okay, this value of v1F, this value I am placing here. So when you place here, you get m1 minus m2. This m1 is here. Okay, m1 minus m2 divided by m1 plus m2 and v1I and whole square. So this also square and v1I also square. Okay, this square v1I square and square of all this value. So that is from equation A. So you place, so that is the value of final kinetic energy. Okay, K1F. The fractional kinetic energy loss F1 equal to K1F divided by K1I equal to, if you take the ratio of these two, K1F, this one, divide by K1I, this value. Okay, so this value divide by this value. So you can see 1 by 2 you can cut, m1 you can cut, v1I square also you can cut, right? So remains only this one. So I have directly written m1 minus m2 divided by m1 plus m2 whole square, this value. Okay, other part cancels out. While the fractional kinetic energy gained by moderating nuclei Kf2 divided by K1I, sorry, K2F, okay, K2F divided by K1I. K2F means the final energy, okay, is given by this, given by F2 is equal to 1 minus F1, elastic collision. So here 1 minus F1, we found this one, put this value, m1 minus m2 divided by m1 plus m2 whole square. If you take the LCM, m1 plus m2 whole square minus m1 minus m2 whole square divided by m1 plus m2 whole square. Okay, if you expand this using a plus b whole square, a minus b whole square, and simplify, you get the value as 4 m1 m2 divided by m1 plus m2 whole square, this denominator as it is. For deuterium, m2 is equal to 2 m1. Therefore F1, this value F1 will be m1, I just place the value m2 as 2 m1. Okay, so here I am putting, so m1 minus 2 m1 divided by m1 plus 2 m1 equal to, this gives you minus m1 divided by 2 plus 1 is 3 m1 and whole square. Okay, so here m1 cut, so minus 1 square is 1 and 3 square is 9. And F2 equal to, F2, put the value from here, F2 value is this one, 4 m1 m2 divided by m1 plus m2 whole square. Put the value, m2 is equal to 2 m1. So 4 m1, m2 value is 2 m1 divided by m1 plus m2 has 2 m1 whole square equal to 4 into 2 8, m1 into m1 square, here 2 plus 1 3 m1 square, so 3 square is 9 and m1 square, and this numerator m1 square will cut, so you get here 8 by 9. Almost 90% of neutrons energy is transferred to deuterium. For carbon, F1 equal to 71.6% and F2 equal to 28.4%. Okay, so that is a solution for example 6.12. We'll keep this much for today. Thank you very much.